There is no red, white, or blue in this country. The only color that matters is green, because we live in the United Corporations of America.
What's up, everybody? How are we? It's Rob Placone, filling in for Jordan Sheraton, doing the Status Coup stream today. It is Friday, December 13th. It's Friday the 13th. Get your Jason jokes ready. Good to be here. We got an awesome show for you today. Real quick, I'll make a quick disclaimer here before we get into the news. I'm in a mobile studio, if you will. This is not my usual setup. This is actually my living room. And yeah, my setup's a little different because of something that's going on at home today. So yeah, I hope the sound is okay. I hope everything's coming in okay. Let me know what you think. But yeah, good to be here. Good to see everyone. Hello, community. Hello, Status Crew. We got an awesome show for you today. So a lot of today's show. Oh, smash the like button. Yeah, don't forget. Smash. I actually kind of like this living room thing. I don't know if you can tell, Lucy's right beside me on the couch, but smash the like button, smash it, and please do leave us a super chat. It helps keep the show on the air. And I'm just kind of flying solo in my living room today. Well, I'm not flying solo. I got Colin on the ones and twos, but you know what I mean. So please, by all means, chat with me. I appreciate it. Leave us a super chat. It helps keep the show on the air, and I will get to all your super chats at the end of the show. You guys are saying that it sounds good. Okay, glad to hear it. It's not my usual setup, so the audio might not quite be what you're used to, but hopefully it'll be cool, man. It's Friday. We're chilling. The holidays are upon us. We got a lot of show for you today. So first of all, we are going to be talking about a lot of the propaganda around healthcare and what's been going on in the healthcare space. New York Times decided they wanted to let UnitedHealthcare write an editorial about how we could fix healthcare, which is kind of funny. That's like letting the wolf write an article about how we can fix the pasture of sheep. It doesn't make any sense. So a lot of our show is going to be revolved around that and citizens' reactions, what citizens are doing in response to this across the country. It has been wild watching this rhetorical event unfold. And also a woman in Florida in particular who is, I believe, being charged. We're going to dive into that. And that's an interesting First Amendment case. So a lot of today's show is going to be based around the healthcare situation that is still unfolding and the situation with Luigi Mangione. Fun name to say. Come on. It's a fun name to say. And also, we're going to start today, before we get into all that, which is going to be the majority of today's show, we're going to start with something a little different, something coming up for the holidays, and that is the Amazon strike. That's likely to happen. More Perfect Union put something together. We're going to go straight to it. Let's go to that video, Colin.
Every package we deliver with pain and suffering.
This is my third holiday I'm giving to Amazon. I haven't been around for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
It's constant speed up for the holidays.
It's like twice as dangerous, I would say, because everyone's moving twice as fast and there's twice as much work.
Every horror story you read about Amazon is true, but worse. And that is why I voted yes for the strike.
Workers at the only unionized Amazon warehouse are going on strike during the company's busiest season.
Ultimately, Amazon only speaks one language, and that's money. We're going to hit them where it hurts until they decide it's time to come to the table.
Workers with the ALU plan to strike the JFK 8 facility on Staten Island later in December.
We can't wait anymore.
We're not joking around here.
Right now, it is peak season at Amazon. It's Amazon's most profitable time of year.
Well, it's pretty typical of Amazon to call mandatory overtime every holiday season.
They've been asking for us to work 11.5-hour days, 5 days a week.
With the lunch break, it's a 12-hour and 30-minute shift, so you're there majority of the day, majority of the week.
They have no right to demand that of their workers when they could fulfill those same roles with voluntary extra time and surge pay for the workers that want to take it on. There's no room on the floor to walk yeah, just safety hazards everywhere.
Despite employing only 36% of warehouse workers in 2022, Amazon was responsible for 53% of all injuries in the warehouse industry.
Amazon is fine to let people die in the wake of tornadoes and any kind of natural disaster for their profits. And we, as Amazon workers, know what we deserve. And we're not going to take it anymore.
And they ignore everything from the NLRB.
And right now they're in federal court arguing that unions are unconstitutional.
Amazon is one of the wealthiest companies in the world. They can keep us in court for the rest of time. The only thing that will get them to negotiate a union contract with us is impacting their bottom line.
We've pledged several hundred workers so far to participate, and we're still working and organizing and building up our structure in JFK so we can hopefully mobilize a lot more and really impact productions this year.
Trying to show Amazon we're fed up.
So there you have it. The only unionized warehouse is striking. And guess when they're striking? They're striking right in time for the winter holidays. That is not a time where Jeff Bezos wants to see a strike. Well, they never want to see a strike, but really, you're going to do it at the holidays? They're not going to like that. They're not going to like that at all. I am thrilled to see this happen. We've covered a lot of what Amazon does, and that was just a trip down memory lane watching that video. There were people who died in warehouses because there was a tornado that was coming, and they still didn't let people get off work. They shock people if you don't hit a certain quota. There's those shock bracelets they make people wear. Throughout the pandemic, they made people work in unsafe conditions. I should say during the height of the pandemic. Technically, we're still in a pandemic, but during the height of things, they were making people work in unsafe conditions. They weren't giving them proper protection. They weren't giving them proper PPE. They weren't giving them anything. And of course, we can get into the whole living wage crisis that they have there too. They work people to the bone. They don't pay them a living wage. It is criminal. And Jeff Bezos is literally just homogenizing our entire freaking universe. This guy has built it up to a point where Amazon is responsible for over 50% of all online commerce. They have hands in creative. They have hands in food. They have hands in news. They're basically unavoidable. They're incredibly difficult to avoid for every person. And it's by design that they do that. So the only way people can fight back is by going on strike. So guess what? This is happening right now. This is happening as we speak. And guess who's going to be on the ground covering the strike? Want to take a guess? You got to guess? I'm going to tell you. Status Coup. Status Coup is going to be there on the ground. I believe Jordan himself is going to be on the ground covering the strike. So it said, where's Rod's regular studio? It's in the other room. I got something going on at my place today, so I got to be in my living room. So this is my living room, everybody. So it's still there, and it'll be, it's probably just for today, but whatever. It's a Friday, but yes, Status Coup will be on the ground for the Amazon strike. Please, if you are able, statuscoup.com/join. There are $5 a month option, $10 a month options. There's an annual option. And for those who are able, a $20 a month option, know that your support goes to fund independent journalism. This strike is going to be huge, and I guarantee it, there's not going to be many people on the ground covering this. It'll be Status Coup. It might only be Status Coup. There's a chance it might be Status Coup and nobody else. So the work that is done here is essential because this is the work that the corporate media ignores. We tell the stories of the working class. We tell the story of the protests. We tell the stories of the strike. And guess what? If you actually want things to change in this country, guess what it's going to take? Protests and strikes. That's a fact. That's just a fact. Protests, strikes, that's what it's going to take to change this freaking country. Just showing up in the voting booth ain't going to do it. Just ain't going to do it. That's not going to do it alone. And, talking about Twitter beefs 24/7, also not going to do it. Also not going to do it. So we're covering the stuff that is essential, and the corporate media ignores this stuff. Why? Because their advertisers and their owners don't want them to. Comcast doesn't want MSNBC covering a potential strike. Neither does CNN and Time Warner. Neither does Fox News and Rupert Murdoch's wet dream. So it's up to outlets like this. So Status Coup is going to be there for the Amazon strike. All right, time to move on to the healthcare propaganda. Smash the like button if you're just getting here. Smash the like button. I'm Ron Placone, filling in for Jordan Cheriton, and I have a temporary setup here in my living room. My cat Lucy's right there. She's chilling on the couch. You can't really see her. She's out of frame, but she's chilling next to me on the couch, which I actually really enjoy. That part. I really do. So let's go. Let's start with the New York Times piece, Colin. So this is a piece that was written by United. New York Times said, yeah, we should let United tell people how we can fix the healthcare system that they get very rich off of exploiting. They're part of the problem. They're going to talk about how to fix it. United Group Health CEO, the healthcare system is flawed. Let's fix it. This is coming from the guy whose company denies more claims than any other health insurance company. They are the predators of the predators. All right, let's go. Here we go. As Brian Thompson's family, friends, and colleagues mourn his killing, we are bearing a grief and sadness we will carry for the rest of our lives. Grief for the family he leaves behind. Grief for a brilliant, kind man who is working to make healthcare better for everyone. All right. This guy, Brian Thompson, was actually one of the architects behind using an AI software that is set up to deny claims. As a result, United denied more claims than any other health insurance company out there. They're responsible for, we don't even know how many deaths. Thousands and thousands of people die each year due to lack of health care. This is a totally preventable death, and United is responsible for a freaking lot of them. So that's actually who this guy was. Oh, and by the way, side note about him being so beloved by everybody. Ken Klippenstein published some information about all that. Ken got an eternal. I said eternal. I meant internal. Ken got an internal memo that was sent to all the United employees, 16,000 people. And they gave an internal. And I said it again. Jeez, it's a Friday. Give me a break. What the hell? Eternal, internal, two different words, Ron. I know. And the internal memo, had they issued a statement about Brian Thompson being executed, and it had about 200 responses. So just people, bothering to do a care emoji or the equivalent to a care emoji, and then I think about 28 comments. 16,000 people. So I think it's safe to say this guy wasn't beloved by the employees. I think a lot of the employees at United Healthcare are probably people working at the call center and stuff like that have no choice but to do the job they have. Most people aren't at the freaking top. And again, this is all by design. And they're probably being exploited and underpaid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So no, it didn't seem like there was a lot of love loss for this guy. All right. So let's go back to the New York Times piece. We still got more to go through there. All right. So we greatly appreciate the enormous outpouring of support for Brian, which was 200 reactions out of 16,000 people who ran our health insurance business, United Healthcare. First of all, that's a word that shouldn't exist, or a phrase that shouldn't exist. Health insurance business. That right there shouldn't be a thing. Health insurance isn't a business. Healthcare is a service. Health insurance is a business. We should have healthcare. It should be universal. It should be not for profit. It should cover everybody. And the purpose of it should be to provide healthcare, not make a profit. So right there, business, you're out. United Healthcare, as well as our wider company, which I lead. Yet we are also struggling to make sense of this unconscionable act and the vitriol that has been directing at our colleagues who have been barraged by threats. No employees, be they the people who answer customer calls or nurses who visit patients in their homes, should have to fear for their and their loved ones' safety. Okay, do not compare yourself to frickin' nurses. Nurses are the medical providers. You are the medical exploiters. Do not compare your company to what nurses and doctors do. And I know they have their hands in that, by the way. I know that they were able to get their hands on some of the medical facilities themselves, but it's still not the same thing. It is still not the same thing. That's very, very deceptive. We all know the health system doesn't work as well as it should. Yes, because of people like you. And we understand people's frustrations with it. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be wondering why what happened happened. If you really knew or cared what was going on with the system of exploitation that you're getting rich from in this country, you wouldn't be like, I don't know what drove somebody to this act. Well, look around you. Look at the thousands of people who die for no reason other than our predatory healthcare system. They die each year. And this guy in particular, apparently he was in a ton of back pain, was off his parents' insurance since he was 26. All right. So our mission is to help make it work better. No, it's not. Your mission is to make money off of it. You just said that because you said you're a business. We are willing to partner with anyone, as we always have, healthcare providers, employers, patients, pharmaceutical companies, governments, and others, to find ways to deliver high quality care and lower costs. That's like saying you're the termites eating a frickin' house, and you're saying we're going to cooperate with the house. No, you're eating the frickin' house. Clearly, we are not there yet. We understand and share the desire to build a healthcare system that works better for everyone. That is the purpose of our organization. That's a freaking joke. I think we've iterated that point. All right, let's keep going. Healthcare. This next sentence. This is my freaking favorite. Healthcare is both, here, move up a little bit, Colin. Healthcare is both intensely personal and very complicated. It's so complicated that the rest of the industrialized world figured it out decades ago. The rest of the industrialized world figured it out decades ago, but it's just so complicated. It's so there's an old video here at Status Coup where I got into a Twitter beef with John Delaney. John Delaney is the health insurance profiteer. He's a big banker, health insurance investor who ran for president and humiliated himself in 2020. It was his campaign was the worst of the worst, which was hard to do if you remember the clown car of 2020. He was the worst at all of them. I think like 2 people voted for him. They were all members of his family, so not even all of his family was on board. But anyway, he humiliated himself with the presidential campaign. Him and I got into it about healthcare on Twitter, and he said, it's just so complicated. Healthcare is so complicated. No, it's not. No, it's freaking not. And the reasons behind coverage decisions are not well understood. Yeah, it is well understood. You want to make money and exploit people. We share some of the responsibility for that. Yeah, you share all the responsibility for that. You and other companies like you. Together with employers, governments, and others who pay for care, we need to improve how we explain what insurance covers and how decisions are made. It should cover everything. It should be healthcare, but it doesn't because you guys are profiteers. You guys are parasites. You guys are the termites eating the house, and we can't get along with the termites. If you hired an exterminator and said, hey, yeah, you got to get rid of the termites. They're killing my house. They're eating my house. And they say, well, I'm going to let some of the termites stick around that said they're going to play nice and be fair. Would you hire that exterminator? Behind each decision lies a comprehensive and continually updated body of clinical evidence. Oh, my God. Really? Really? Focus on achieving the best health outcomes and ensuring patient safety. You don't give a hoot about patient safety. You just give a hoot about money. While the health system is not perfect, it's not only not perfect, it's the worst out of the industrialized world. The worst out of the industrialized world. United States healthcare is the worst out of the industrialized world. We're one of the wealthiest nations on the planet. We have the resources to be the best in the world. We have some of the best medical schools in the freaking world here in the United States. We have all the facilities you could need and then some. But we have the worst healthcare system in the industrialized world. Why is that? It's certainly not because of lack of resources. It's certainly not because of lack of expertise. No, it's because of this. It's because of the for-profit, predatory middlemen. So this guy is talking about trying to solve a problem that he's causing. He's causing this problem. Brian was one of those people. Oh, my God. Brian was one of the exploiters, just like you. He was raised in the same Iowa farmhouse as his mom. Who cares? His dad spent more than 40 years unloading trucks at grain elevators. Again, who cares? His dad did an honest job. Too bad he didn't decide to follow in his dad's footsteps. BT, as we knew him, oh, that's so cool. Do you guys go to kegers together? Call them old BT. Worked farm jobs as a kid. No one cares. Fished at a gravel pit with his brother. Still, how is this relevant? He never forgot where he came. This is like when a presidential candidate has nothing to say and no policies to offer people, and they know they stand for absolutely nothing except for what their donors want them to do. So they get up on stage and they're like, oh, they tell you some folksy story. Like, I'm relatable. Here's this thing I did when I want to take a selfie. All right. I think we covered it. This is enough. I think we get. Do you guys get it? This is just propaganda bullshit that the New York Times just published completely uncritically. How is that not conflict of interest 101? Letting a healthcare CEO write a piece about the problems in the health insurance industry. What do you get to do next? You gonna let Monsanto write an editorial about the problems in our food culture? Are you going to let Kroger and Albertsons write a piece about the problem of homogenizing our grocery chains? What are you going to do next? Are you going to hire a bunch of defense contractors to talk about war and peace? They do that, actually. They do that all the time. MSNBC does that. They brag about it. And so does Fox News. They all do it. All the corporate media does the same shit. But this is what you can expect from the institution who promised you there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. What a joke. What a joke. This is what happens when you have a media structure that is focused on profit and that allows advertising to happen. You get what we have. You get a joke of a media structure that is a completely toxic thing that shouldn't exist. It should be illegal. And by the way, it is illegal in other countries. If our media structure went over to Norway would shut it down because they'd say, you can't do this. You can't have advertising on news. You can't do that because that'll create a conflict of interest, which is something you learn in journalism class 101 or a comm class 101. I learned that my freshman year of freaking college. Most people do. But yet, we have a system. That's all about it. And we've been talking about the same shit for 50 years and nothing changes. Sorry, I just cursed. Somebody on the last stream complained that I cursed a little too much. But in fairness, look at the source material. This is stuff that elicits a lot of frustration now, doesn't it? But yeah. So that's what the New York Times allowed to be published. And by the way, the New York Times is one of the main reasons that institutions like this have to exist. Because what Status Coup does is we do the job that the corporate media is supposed to do. We do it with a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the resources that they have. And friendly reminder for anyone who's tuning in a little later, Amazon, the only unionized Amazon warehouse, is going on frickin' strike. We just covered it a little bit ago. It was our first story of the day. And Status Coup is going to be there covering the strike. So if you are able, hey, 2025 is coming soon. Cool thing you can do for yourself. Join up here at Status Coup. Go to statuscoup.com/join, and you can become a member. Know that your support supports on the ground journalism. It supports what we do here. But you know what? You're not just doing a good deed. You're not doing a good deed only. I mean, you're doing a great deed. But you get some cool stuff in return. We do members calls. Jordan's there. Sometimes I'm there. Sometimes Tina's there. We do different types of hangs. And you know what? I think in the coming year, as Status Coup is expanding, maybe we'll be able to do even more. Maybe there'll be some Zoom shows in the future. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But those are some things that maybe we'll be able to explore. So please go to statuscoup.com/join. It's not only you helping keep independent journalism alive in this country, but you also get some cool things in return. You know, you get to do some cool things, members calls, all kinds of fun stuff. All right, let's go to Ken Klippenstein's piece about the empathy PR blitz. So this is more propaganda from United Health. I feel your pain. PR blitz. So this is leaked internal memo that says the system isn't perfect. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. There he is. There's the CEO. In the wake of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder last week and grassroots outrage at the healthcare industry, the company is undertaking an empathy offensive. We know the healthcare system isn't perfect, says an internal company memo sent from UnitedHealthcare's executive council today, which can obtain. There's more work we can do and must do. This I feel your pain routine is also appearing in public-facing communications. We know the healthcare system doesn't work well as it should, and we understand people's frustrations with it. That was in the New York Times piece. This is also from the op-ed. There is no value in enraging with the media. The comment section of the Times op-ed predictably became dominated by angry comments before the newspaper. Oh, yeah, that's a fun fact I forgot to mention. The newspaper disabled comments on that editorial. That propaganda editorial that they ran with no shame at all, they had to disable the comments because so many people were freaking out about it. All right, so let's move on to, let's go to the Florida woman next. Now, this is an interesting story. Now we're going to move into public outcry here, folks. And this is a very interesting story that leaves a lot of questions, or rather incites a lot of questions, instigates a lot of questions. A Florida woman is being charged for threatening a health insurance company. Delay, deny, depose. A Florida woman was arrested and charged this week after police say she ended a phone call with her health insurance provider with threats that mimicked wording associated with the suspected UnitedHealthcare CEO shooter. The incident occurred Tuesday when Brianna Boston, a 42-year-old woman from Lakeland, was speaking from a representative from Blue Cross Blue Shield after she had been told her medical claim was denied. So this stuff that they do that causes people to frickin' act out of complete desperation, they're still doing it, obviously. And then they get upset when people get mad. In an arrest affidavit obtained by ABC, police said that near the end of the recorded conversation with the insurance provider, Boston can be heard saying, "Delay, deny, depose. You people are next." Interesting. All right, let's keep scrolling down here. In this booking photo released by Lakeland Police Department, Brianna Boston is shown. Boston's apparent threats nearly echo the words that were engraved on the bullet shell casing that authorities recovered from the scene where UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fatally shot earlier this month. Those engraved words were deny, defend, and depose. You know, I'm going to say it now. Don't be surprised if in the wake of all this, some of the things about the First Amendment change. Don't be surprised if they try to tweak it. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty here in just a second. But Boston's words of casing. Okay, yeah. And that's the title of a 2010 book, Delay, Deny, Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. The book was written by a legal scholar and insurance expert, Jane Feynman, a professor emeritus at Rutgers Law School in New Jersey. It explores the abuses of auto and homeowners insurance to avoid paying justified claims, according to its summary. I think I'm going to read that book. Now, Luigi Mangione is the suspect in the killing, which has catapulted the nation's healthcare industry into the spotlight. And we're going to talk more about citizens' reactions to this. Mangione faces second-degree murder and a slew of other charges in both Pennsylvania and New York. When Lakeland police confronted Boston about the perceived threats, she apologized and said that she used those words because it's what is in the news right now. All right. So, gonna come out and say it, gonna cut to the chase here. She should not have been arrested. She should not be charged. That's absolutely ridiculous. She said something out of frustration, and we do have a little thing in this country called free speech. Now, I went ahead and I looked up something from Georgetown Law. I'm going to read it to you off my phone. One of the elements of speech that is not protected is an incite to violence. If you incite violence, that is not protected speech. But something has to be what is considered a true threat. Okay? So I'm going to read this. This is from Georgetown Law. What is a true threat? And why doesn't the Constitution protect it? The Supreme Court has long recognized that some types of speech are so dangerous that they are unprotected by the First Amendment. True threats fall into this category. A true threat encompasses statement where the speaker means to communicate a serious expression of an intent to commit an act of unlawful violence to a particular individual or group of individuals. The speaker need not actually intend to carry out the threat. The threat alone harms its victims, and the state can punish true threats to protect individuals from the fear of violence. Are all statements threatening violence true threats? No. As the Supreme Court has explained, the true in that term distinguishes serious expressions of intent to harm. from jest, hyperbole, or other statements that, when taken in context, do not convey a real possibility that violence will follow. So, given that threshold, what she said, where she referenced something that was going on in the news, said, you guys are going to be next, is that a true threat? I don't see how anybody could make the case that it is. Because I think it meets this third thing. The third thing of statements when taken in context do not convey a real possibility that violence will follow. She's saying something that happened in the news, hinting towards why it happened, and she said something out of frustration. This does not meet the criteria of a true threat. If she would have said something like, you better watch where you're going, I know where you live, or something like that, or if she would have said, I'm on my way with a gun or something, that's different. That it's like, well, that kind of is. But referencing something in the news, referencing something that was all over the news, saying something out of frustration, that, by the way, and she didn't say she was going to do it. She just said it could happen. That doesn't qualify as a true threat. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Now, granted, we live in an age where anybody can sue anyone for anything. Anyone can make any type of claim they want and take you to court. And it just depends on how good your freaking lawyer is. But with the right lawyer, with a competent lawyer, because this is such a freaking stretch. She should never have been arrested. She should have never been charged. Isn't it wild? Isn't it wild that in Florida, you can gun down a teenager carrying Skittles, a black teenager carrying Skittles. You can gun that guy down for no reason other than the fact that you're a wannabe cop and you can walk free. Oh, and then after you do that, go ahead and beat the shit out of your girlfriend. Go ahead and do that. And then you'll walk free for that too, by the way. You can do that in Florida. But you can't say something out of frustration to the health insurance industry. It really shows you who is protected in this country, and it's the ruling class. They're the ones who are protected. And I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to tweak the First Amendment because of all this. I wouldn't be surprised if they start tweaking the First Amendment. And that'll be so funny because you have all these so-called free speech absolutists in the United States. And I think they're just free speech absolutists in their own heads. I don't think they actually even know what free speech laws are in most cases. But nonetheless, will they have an issue? People love to swear by our First Amendment. They love free speech here in the United States. We're all about it. Well, what if they take that away? It's one of the few things that, in my opinion, we actually get right. My friend Robin Tran has a wonderful joke about it in her act. She says, I'm paraphrasing, but she says, Americans love free speech so much because it's all they have. Like, you don't have anything else. You don't have healthcare. You don't have education. You don't have living wages. You don't have climate action. You don't have, but free speech. Well, we kind of have some pretty decent free speech laws. By the way, we're not the only country with free speech laws, by the way. Like, other countries have free speech laws. And if you talk to a lot of people, they're perfectly fine with their free speech laws. They're like, yeah, our free speech laws are just fine. And now one of the few things that United States someone has, well, not really. Not if you get angry at the health insurance industry and it's on record. You can't do that. So yeah, this woman it is a joke that this woman was taken in and charged. It is absolutely criminal that anything happened to her whatsoever. She should have just been, and I get it. The person taking that call was, just kind of the messenger. Like, they were probably somebody working at a call center for minimum wage. And I keep that in mind whenever I'm in a similar situation. So, I always keep in mind, like, when you're frustrated about something, and I always make an effort to tell the person, I get it. This is not your fault. I always do that. Like I always say that because I know it's not. Like when I'm going through like some kind of thing and it's because of some type of entity that's big and powerful that's screwing me over. I always say, I'm like, look, I know this is not your fault. I know you're just working, but here's the issue. Here's what's really effed up. And can you help me? What can we do? I'm really frustrated, but I know it's not your fault. I'm not mad at you. And honestly, whenever you do that, like, people, they're on board with you because they get it. And I want them to know that if I'm frustrated, it's not directed at them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I get it. You're a victim of the system too, really. And I get that. So I'm not, all right, I'm over explaining it, but you get the idea. All right. So yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. I just read the piece from you from Georgetown Law. Inciting violence is not protecting speech. Was this inciting violence? Was this a true threat? It'd be a really freaking hard case to make based on the criteria that we just laid out. It'd be a very, very, very hard case to make. All right. So I hope that woman is freed very, very soon. And it's a joke that she was ever taken into custody. And again, can't help but see the wildness that this happened in Florida. Florida, where they can literally kidnap your trans children away from you, where they can hold trans children in a room. You guys remember when that happened? That freaking happened. We covered it here on Status Coup. Where you can just stand your ground and shoot somebody and not even be questioned about it. Wow. What a wild. I mean, our country is just so backwards in everything we do. Our country is just so freaking backwards. All right. So let's go. First of all, for anyone just tuning in, I'm in my living room today. It's kind of a weird, there's a situation going on at my residence, and my usual studio stuff is in the other room. And so I'm in my living room today. So I apologize if the sound is not quite what it usually is. I apologize for that. I appreciate your love and your patience. And the one cool thing about the living room is Lucy is beside me on the couch, which is really cool. You can't see her. She's not in frame, but she's kind of just chilling on the couch, all peaceful. And smash the like button. Smash it. And again, Amazon, the one unionized Amazon warehouse is going on strike, and guess who's going to be there on the ground? Status Coup is going to be there on the ground. So guys, this holiday season, if you are able, please become a Status Coup member. $5 a month, $10 a month. You can go to statuscoup.com/join. And not only are you doing a good thing and supporting on-the-ground journalism, but you get cool perks too. There's members calls that Jordan does. Sometimes I'm there. Sometimes Tina's there. There's other kind of cool interactive things that we do here. That's all digital. So all you need is an internet connection, and it's a lot of fun. So you're not just doing a great thing. You're not just supporting necessary media. You're also getting something. I feel like this is my fireside chat, by the way, because I'm on my couch. I'm just like, you also get stuff in return. All right. So let's go to some of the stuff that has been happening with people reacting. Let's go to the Newsweek piece, Colin. Let's go there. Healthcare CEO wanted posters appear in New York after Brian Thompson shooting. Now, full disclaimer, y'all. I was in New York City this past weekend, and I saw them frantically looking for this guy. Cops were looking for this guy everywhere. They were like even going in like lakes, or not lakes, but like little ponds in the parks and stuff. They were in there looking for this guy. Meanwhile, people in New York were having a lookalike contest for him. The public is fed up. The public knows that our predatory healthcare system is absolutely freaking predatory, and there is just no empathy for this guy. A lot of people don't condone the action itself, which, I totally get that. I don't condone murder, but a lot of people, it's like, well, I don't have a violin to play for this freaking guy who is responsible for the deaths of countless amounts of people. Wanted posters for healthcare executives have started appearing across New York City following the shooting of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson last week. Thompson, 50, was en route to speak at United Health Group's investor conference at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, and he was fatally shot. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch stated that Thompson was struck at least once in the back and once in the right calf. All right, we can go scroll down. We know all this. Luigi Mangione is the accused. And apparently he had a manifesto on him. Still seems so weird to me that this guy was so calculated in getting out of New York. Yet in 5 days, the only place he made it to was Altoona. That's as far as he got. And then he happened to have everything on him. He had the gun. He had a manifesto. He had multiple fake IDs. And when the cop asked for his ID, he gave the ID that he used to check into the hostel. Why would he do that? There's just so much weirdness. Now, it's possible that the explanation is as simple as he's just having a psychotic breakdown. That's possible. I have no idea either way. I have no idea what his mental state is. I don't think anyone can say definitively one way or another, but it is possible that that was the case. And so he slowly started acting less and less logically. Like he was very clear when he was in New York doing the actual deed, but then he kind of spiraled. That's possible. Am I making that case one way or another? No, I'm just saying that's a possibility. Another possibility, I think this is the more likely possibility. He wanted to get caught. He got caught on purpose because he wanted to make a statement. Or, yeah, maybe this isn't what it seems. Maybe he's not the guy. I don't know. There's still a lot of weird unanswered questions in this. I mean, this is what I've been saying throughout, like as stuff kept coming to the surface. If he is the guy, he wanted to get caught. That's what I think is most likely. It's possible he could have just been spiraling and logic just left him. That's possible. But again, if he's the guy, I think he wanted to get caught. All right, let's go back to the story. So following video shared on social media showed wanted signs. So let's go look at some of the signs. Let's scroll down and check out some of these signs that have been showed that were all over. Okay, so here's one. This is another wanted sign. Man, and that's going on all over New York City. So that's happening. Police have issued warnings about this. Again, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if they mess with the First Amendment over this. Don't be surprised. All right, let's go to the One Less CEO sign up in Seattle. So this is over at Mediaite. And this is somebody hacked the road signage and they put this up. So let's go ahead and go there next. Smash the like button, by the way, if you haven't already. Smash it up. Oh, and also, do we not have the Mediaite?
Oh, we do. It's a video. I was going to
calling your.
It's a video.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and play it.
And here at home, new overnight, a disturbing message possibly related to the CEO's murder. This was found posted on a portable electronic road messaging sign right off of Highway 99, just south of the Aurora Bridge in Seattle. And it reads, "One less CEO, many more to go." Well, we're asking who's responsible for this, which agency operates the sign, whether it's WSDOT or SDOT, perhaps a private company, and how something like this would happen. We'll let you know as soon as we get some answers.
Apparently it was a hacker. That's the word on the street, is that it was a hacker, or perhaps it was an employee who had some thoughts. But yeah, also another side note, I used to live right around there. I used to live right near the Aurora Bridge in Seattle, in the Fremont neighborhood. I lived in Fremont for 3 years. Shout out if there's any Seattle folks watching the show today. Good to see you. Hope you're well. And I miss the Northwest. It's a very wonderful part of the world. Winters in Southern California kind of remind me of the Northwest a little bit. And that's one of the things I like about it. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Northwest. There's something about the Northwest. It's very rustic and very comfortable and very, like it's very like homeward boundy in a lot of ways. It's just comfortable and warm. Except when they have a heat wave, which they get every year now because the climate's changing, y'all. Yeah. Fremont is awesome. Shout out to Holly. I can't see much of the chat. I see pitter patters because of the way this software works. But shout out to Holly who gave Fremont a shout out. Yeah, it was a cool neighborhood. It used to be a pretty chill, affordable neighborhood too. It is not now. Fremont is pretty much as expensive as Los Angeles. It was not like that back when I lived there. It was always pricey because it's Seattle, but it was a relatively affordable part of town, all things considered. Anyway, all right, let's go to the other media piece about CNN's Harry Enton, who blows up the narrative that Americans hate their healthcare. They're pretty gosh darn satisfied. Let's go to that.
So how do Americans feel about healthcare, their healthcare, the country's healthcare in general. Certainly been in the news lately. With us now, CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton. It's actually a fairly complicated question depending on which one you ask.
Yeah, it's a nuanced question with a nuanced answer. Maybe it's an easy question with a nuanced answer. All right, we talk about the healthcare system in this country. Look, the bottom line is Americans really don't like it. Some might even say they hate it. Talk about is the quality of the healthcare in this country excellent or good? Just 44% say it's excellent or good. Look at the coverage. Look at the coverage. 28% say that the coverage is excellent or good. The quality is the lowest this century, this 44%, the lowest this century. Viewpoints on healthcare in this country going downward. How about the cost? Just 19%. Just 19% of Americans are satisfied with the cost of healthcare in this country. So the bottom line is when you're talking about the healthcare system overall, Americans really don't like it, John.
But there's a difference between the healthcare and their healthcare. Two letters can make all the difference in the world.
Can make all the difference in the world. You know, sometimes we talk about approval of Congress versus approval of your own congressman. People don't like Congress, but they like their own congressman. Something similar is going on here when you talk about the nation's healthcare system or the healthcare in the nation versus your own healthcare. Your own healthcare. Look at this. Excellent or good. The quality of it. 71% say it's excellent or good. How about the coverage of it? 65% say that their coverage is excellent or good. How about satisfied with the cost? A majority, 58%, say that they're satisfied with the cost. So the bottom line is this. You wonder why the healthcare system in this country stays the same. It's because people don't like healthcare in sort of the abstract, but when it comes to their own healthcare, a lot of Americans actually are pretty gosh darn satisfied with it.
Again, I just want to show people, again, this is the healthcare.
Yes.
Their healthcare. The healthcare. Their healthcare. It turns out people like their healthcare. A majority do. And in some cases, a vast majority.
That's exactly right, which is why, you know, we've seen these sort of movements to change the healthcare system in this country. And you say, oh, you look at that first slide, say, oh, wow, yeah, there should definitely be a lot of movement for it. But then all of a sudden, like when it came to Obamacare, there was that real hill that people ran into. And it's because people actually like their own healthcare and afraid that it's going to get changed.
Well, you talked about Obamacare. What about lower income people in general?
Yeah, what about lower income people in general when it comes to their own healthcare? Look at this. I mean, many adults, even in the lower income bracket, those who make less than $50,000 a year, say the quality of their health care is excellent or good, the coverage is excellent or good, 56%, and satisfied with the cost, which you might expect to be significantly lower among the lower income brackets. Actually, it's slightly higher at 63%. So the bottom line is this. Yes, Americans don't like the health care in this country in the abstract, but when it comes specifically to their health care, they're far more.
What you just saw there, first of all, if you threw up in your mouth a little bit, that's a totally appropriate response. And I'm sorry that we did that to you. I apologize for that. But we need to know that this stuff is happening. This is corporate propaganda. And what you just saw there, you saw two shameless shills who are grossly overpaid and were happy to just sell their soul. What is the difference between these corporate reporters? I mean, they're basically thought prostitutes. And what they do is so disgusting. Because, I mean, that it's so much worse. I mean, we judge sex work in this country. Like, we judge people for doing that. This is so much worse. To sell your mouth to lies, to sell your thoughts, to sell ideas, to sell your ability to package things. What you just saw there were two people polishing a turd. Two shills polishing a turd. Because they had to arrange the propaganda to make it seem like people are happy. They're not. All you need are the statistics that we pay more and get less than any other industrialized nation in the world. We pay more and get less. Our healthcare system, thousands and thousands die. There are thousands more bankruptcies. Did they talk to anyone who went bankrupt over medical bills? I doubt it. You know how many medical bankruptcies other industrialized nations have? Zero. That doesn't happen. And I'm not saying those systems are perfect. They're not perfect. They got issues. But medical bankruptcies don't happen. Bankruptcies, deaths over lack of health care don't happen. Shout out to the people who are saying thought prostitutes is a cool. You know what? That was just off the cuff. I'm writing that down. I like that too. I want to use that again And you know what? It's going to be the name of my new punk band. I'm starting it. Colin's on drums. Johnny F is on the bass. And Jordan's our singer. I'm on guitar. Look out for it. We're going to be freaking awesome. It's going to be great. Our first show is going to be in Brooklyn somewhere someday. Anyway, yeah. So that's what's happening. I mean, they're rolling out a bunch of corporate propaganda. Why? Because they know that people are fed up. They see what's happening in New York. They see what's happening in Seattle. They see all the stuff online where people have no empathy for this CEO. They see the fact that people want to free Luigi, that people are raising money. I last time I checked, they've already raised over 30 grand for this guy's legal defense. And by the way, side note, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the interview with the lawyer, with Luigi Mangione's lawyer, was one of the most disgusting. Like, they were just asking him stuff you should never ask a lawyer, and they were just doing it shamelessly. And the guy did a good. He was just like, "What's wrong with you? I'm a lawyer." He didn't say those words, but he kind of said, like, "I would never." Like, they basically, did he tell you he did it? What did he do? You don't. There's lawyer-client confidentiality. You don't ask that. At least not while the thing's about to happen. Years later, you could ask something. Like years later when they asked like Johnny Cochran about OJ and stuff like that. Like, that's one thing. But like before a trial has even been announced and you're asking the lawyer, it was so gross. I look up those videos. It's freaking gross. But yeah. Real quick, we're gonna listen to some healthcare horror stories. But before we do, I want to have a little bit of a light moment to lighten the blow here, because this is going to get a little heavy here as we're closing out the week. But Colin, could we please do a poll today? And I want the poll to be, Ron, do you prefer him with or without glasses? So just me, with or without glasses. And I'll tell you guys why. There's a reason for this. I didn't just be like, I'm thinking about me today. There's a reason why I would appreciate you voting in this poll, and I would appreciate your thoughts. And I'll tell you the story. First, let's go to this. But then after that, we're going to go to the chat. I'm going to hear from y'all, and I'll tell you a quick little goofy story as to why I wanted that to be the poll today. But first, go ahead and put out the poll, and let's go to the healthcare horror stories from TikTok. This is what the American healthcare system really is. Not that bullshit propaganda piece those two shills at CNN just made up. But this is what's really going on in the United States. These are the real stories. By the way, side note, before we go to that video, chances are, keep in mind, the only people who watch cable news are in their 60s. So chances are, most of the people CNN polled are people who are on Medicare. Guess who's actually happy with their health care? Guess who actually has affordable health care? People on Medicare. People on freaking Medicare. So that's probably what happened. People on Medicare were like, yeah, we're happy. Because Medicare is actually a universal system. It's just, they don't do it for everybody. Basically, the way healthcare works in the U.S. is if you survive enough and make it to 65 with no big problems, hey, you might be okay. You might be okay. All right, Colin, let's go to that TikTok video.
You want to know why nobody cared that the CEO of UnitedHealthcare died? I have two stories for you. One, first story, I worked at a dental office. We had a patient that had a crown done. The insurance company paid it. Months later, the insurance sent a note to the office asking for their money back. They re-reviewed the claim and decided that there wasn't enough cracks and decay, so they would not pay for the crown. They asked for their money back. Two, I worked in the urology department and the pre-authorization department. I had to call the insurance company to get a bladder surgery approved. Patient had cancer. The agent is going through a list of questions that I have to answer. She got to a particular question and sighed. She said, the question was, do you think the patient is going to live more than 5 years? Here I am, a $12 an hour employee, talking to probably a $13 employee, deciding whether or not a patient should get a particular procedure based on whether or not they're going to live more than 5 years.
That's why.
That's why nobody cares. That's why.
Wow. Wow. And you hear stories like this all the time. You hear stories about, people got this huge bill after somebody died. People got this huge bill. Oh, I saw this. Somebody got a huge bill because their child died and their child was an organ donor. They decided, if something happens to me, I want to donate my organs, which is a good thing to do. And the health insurance company charged the family for getting the organs. Person was an organ donor, and the health insurance company charged the family. I think it was like $2,000 just for the organs. How evil is that? They lost their kid. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So let's go to the last thing we have from Twitter here, Colin. This is a doctor who is speaking out. Because keep in mind, a lot of doctors aren't satisfied with this. Sorry, I was almost done with my sentence. I apologize, Colin. All right, here, let's listen to the doctor.
It goes back to actually the Affordable Care Act. When you look at the Affordable Care Act, one of the things that was done by the government to try and curb healthcare costs and kind of make health insurance costs go under control was something called the medical loss ratio. So the medical loss ratio dictated that insurance companies had to spend 85% of everything they collected, every premium they collected on patient care, and they could only keep 15%. So, on the surface, it makes sense that, okay, that would curb profits. Well, unfortunately for the government, most businesses out there, their people are smarter than politicians. So they figured out a way to circumvent these rules, and UnitedHealthcare is actually one of the most egregious violators of this. So, most people know UnitedHealthcare as a insurer. So, of course, they offer health insurance. But what people don't also realize is that they own a pharmacy benefit manager, which basically it's a company that buys drugs from the drug maker, marks it up, and then sells it to the insurance plan. So they are the insurance plan. So they are marking up a drug and selling it to themselves, okay? They also perform revenue cycle management and services for hospitals. So, in addition to selling insurance to employers and promising them value on their healthcare dollar, they're going to save them the most money. They're also promising the hospitals on the back end that they're going to make them the most money. So they're the buying and the selling agent at the same time. They also, along the same lines, employ a lot of providers. So again, they're paying themselves. So where that kind of comes into play is this medical loss ratio, this 85% that they have to spend on patient care. All of a sudden, they're keeping 15% as the employer, but they're paying themselves part of the 85%. They're paying themselves part of the 85%. They're paying themselves part of the 85%, which is why all of a sudden, as a PBM, Optum Rx is getting sued by the Federal Trade Commission.
So there you have it. Shout out for that guy for speaking up. And Colin, can you go to can you pull up that website that I sent last, the pnhp.org? So to prove that this is an organization that is all over the country, and these are physicians who are for universal healthcare. So there's a ton of doctors and nurses and medical practitioners. In fact, here in California, it was actually a nurses association that wrote our single payer bill. So there are tons of people in the medical profession who are sick of this. So when people use the argument that the doctors and nurses won't get paid under a universal system, that's just a lie. That's just made up nonsense. There's no relevance or truth to that. And there's tons of medical professionals who are so sick of our healthcare system because they spend half their time dealing with bureaucrats and middlemen instead of just practicing frickin' medicine. So this is a national organization. You can learn more about them if you're curious at pnhp.org. Their national conference was in Chicago, and unfortunately, Status Coup was not able to make it there. But hopefully we can, do some more coverage in the future. and I reached out to them about my play on Sunday too, by the way, which, by the way, I'll announce. Oh, Lucy's here, by the way. She says hello. I'll announce that real quick before we go to the chat, and then I'll tell you why I asked about my glasses. So if you're in Los Angeles, I know some of you are. What are you doing Sunday? It's still not too late to get tickets. I am going to be previewing part 1 of my new stage play, Termination Fee. We're going to launch this as a stage play, and we're making a movie. This Termination Fee is a scathing commentary on the American healthcare system. We're going to be premiering part 1 of it on Sunday. So we're going to have a night of stand-up to open the night. I'm going to be there. Andrew Saxena, Daniel Kino, Sarah K. Godot, Graham Elwood. And then we're going to be doing part 1 of the play. That includes myself, Sarah K. Godot, and Andrew. And then we're going to be making the movie as well. And we're going to be performing the play around the country. But if you're in Los Angeles, you can see the preview of part 1 on Sunday. Go to romplacone.com for tickets. And you know what? It's crazy. I wrote this thing because I was noticing that healthcare was not in our conversation much anymore. No one was talking about Medicare for All anymore. And now that has changed around the same time we're launching this thing. So I guess that's kind of some good timing there. All right. Now, the reason I asked about my glasses before we get the results of the poll and go to the super chats, which, by the way, leave a super chat. I'm going to get to all of them right now. So I was in my neighborhood and I stopped by this pizza truck. There's a couple pizza trucks in my neighborhood, and one of them is a pizza truck called Lo Zio. They're quite good, and they're run by these 3 Italian guys. And whenever I go there, I try to practice my Italian skills. I speak Italian. Some of you guys know that about me, and I practice to try to get better. And so I have I have contacts in right now, and I guess whenever I would go to the truck in the past, I would have my glasses on. And so I go up to them and I look at the menu and they go, "Oh yeah, we got this pizza." He's telling me the menu, and I could tell he was kind of acting like he didn't know me. And I was like, "Well, that's weird." And I was like, maybe he's just tired. And so I start speaking Italian to him. I give my order in Italian because that's what I always do whenever I'm there. And he goes, in Italian, he goes, "You speak Italian?" And I go, "Yeah." And then one of the guys looks at me and he goes, "Do you speak it?" It's one of the other guys. He goes, "Oh, you speak Italian?" And then I go, "Hey, we know each other." And I say, "Usually I have glasses on." And then they're like, "Whoa!" And they're like, "You look like a whole different person without your glasses." And I was like, "Really?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then I asked, I was like, "Do you prefer me with or without glasses?" And the guy, without skipping a beat, goes, "With." So I was curious what other opinions people had on such a thing. I never gave it that much thought. Sometimes contacts are just a little more convenient. Here, I'll do it real quick. If you're not familiar with my look, I mean, my vision's going to get real blurry here in a second. That's what I look like with them. So now I can see better because of my contacts. You know how that works. But yeah, there you go. So there. Apparently I look like a whole different person. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, curious what the poll was. We'll get to the poll last. Let's get to the chat first. What are the super chats calling? I can't see them all. So fire them off.
Also, real quick before we get to that, Jordan wanted to let people know that tomorrow he will be releasing an interview he had with Michael Leidy, who's an expert on Medicare for All, who's going to explain just how badly everyone's being ripped off by the health insurance industry and companies. So look forward to that tomorrow. And
I think you fell out. Oh, there we go. What's up? What is up? Nicole, is that what that's supposed to be? 619. Good to see you. Thank you for the super sticker and a pear character jumping up and down saying #1 fan. Thank you so much for that. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Good to see you. Happy weekend. Happy holiday. Another pear. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love pears. They're one of my favorite fruits. I love pears. Pears are delicious. And you know what? This is a weird coincidence. Where most of the pears are grown? The Northwest. And we were talking about the Northwest some today. We talked about those signs in Seattle. I talked about how I used to live there. Pears, most of them are in the Pacific Northwest. That's where most of them are grown. So yeah, thank you very much for the pear. Al, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for watching today's show, Al. Hope you were okay with it being in my living room. and I hope you're well. Yeah, Lucy, come on, come back on the couch. Become a member, level status cool. Yes, I love that. Status cool indeed. Thank you for that. Wait, go back. I didn't get to shout out the person. MH. All right, there we go. Thank you. Thank you for that, MH. Much appreciated. Thomas, what's up, buddy? How are you? Thank you so much for the generous super chat contribution there. Glad to see Status Coup growing. I've been away a while. Thanks for all you cover as usual. Thank you so much for that, Thomas. I appreciate it. Lucy says hello. She says thank you for that too. Here we go. This is Thomas again. I'm privileged enough to leave the country, which I will do next month. Why? Healthcare. I'm sick of living with family to pay my medical bills. Better treated as a foreigner in another country than my own country. That's the truth. That's the truth. A lot of people, they move abroad for healthcare reasons, for education reasons. I've said this. If I had kids, I would not stay. I mean, I don't have kids. But if I did, I mean, my wife and I had that discussion, you know, like we talked about potentially having kids. And I was like, look, the one thing I know for sure, I don't want them to grow up here. We have to move if you want to have kids. So I feel you, Thomas. Thomas, let us know where you're going. If you want to share that. I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. But I'm curious. I'm a big, you guys know I'm a big travel fiend who, you know, has some abroad fantasies myself. So yeah, let me know where you're going. I'm petting a cat here, by the way. If it looks weird because you can't see her, there she is. Yeah. Health insurance is an abomination. MH777, it most certainly is. Thank you for that. It is an abomination in this country. Thomas, thank you so much. Curse jar. Yes. Yes. I appreciate you starting a curse jar. It's fair. I mean, sometimes, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Chris, what's up, buddy? Any chance of more Ron the Ground porting of upcoming strikes? I hope so. I hope so. Every now and again, when the roster of on the ground reporters is exhausted, they get me out there. They're like, we got to bring in Ron with his cloud shoes. Let's see what he does. Oh, Thomas, I also saw you're moving to the Netherlands. That's freaking awesome. I'm actually trying to play Amsterdam this coming year, 2025. Amsterdam is on my short list for a number of reasons. One, I've never been there, and I just want to perform in Amsterdam. It's a good place for comedy. And two, I have a cousin who lives there, and I've never met him. One of my he's Italian. He's one of my Italian family members, but he left Italy to go to Amsterdam. And he's a writer who does comic books. And as some of you guys know about me, I have a comic called Lucy and Ron. It's about my cat Lucy, and I'm the Ron. So I was like, I really want to connect with this guy. We have things in common. He's my cousin. I've never met him. So I want to go out to Amsterdam, do some shows, and meet my cousin who I've never met before. His name's Carmine. Yeah. So maybe I'll see you there, Thomas. Maybe you'll be moved there by the time I get there. You can show me around. Teresa, what's up? Another pair. And this pair character is dancing under a rain of confetti, taking his hat off to say, "You are amazing." Thank you so much for that, Teresa. It's always wonderful to see you. I hope you are having a wonderful holiday season, and I appreciate all your support very much. Matt, what's up? Become a member, level, status, cool. We got some more status cool members. We got some members today. Welcome, new members. I will see you on a future members call, and I'm very much looking forward to that. We got another MH777 became a member. Their member, status cool. We got another status cool member today. All right. Kicking in gear with the holiday season. Tammy got another member. We got Tammy. Tammy is a member. Tammy's level, fight the power. Thank you so much, Tammy. Appreciate you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thomas, what's up? You're back. It's all about the wording of the question. People generally like their doctors. Healthcare isn't the problem. Health insurance is. Exactly. And that, I guarantee you, those questions that they asked were definitely leading and baited. And they probably did kind of frame it like, oh, well, what about your doctor? Do you like your doctor? So yeah, good point, Thomas. Thank you for pointing that out. That's likely what happened. That, and again, they were probably mostly, talking to older people who have Medicare. And Medicare's better than our for-profit insurance model. Medicare's not perfect. A lot of you guys have been pointing out in the chat that Medicare still has its issues, and it does. By the way, Medicare for all doesn't just give Medicare for everybody. It's also makes Medicare better. Side note, if you didn't realize that, because that was one of the propaganda things people used to crap on Medicare for all. They were all like, "Well, Medicare is not." Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Medicare for all though expands Medicare. It expands and it covers dental and it covers vision and it does all these other things that it doesn't currently do, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. Dave, what's up, buddy? How are you, Dave? Always good to see you. Can we just stop and hate PovSafe for a minute? They started a nonprofit to do anti-M4A propaganda. Did they? I didn't know that. That's not surprising. I mean, they do. Or are you just referring to their, like, the umbrella that their podcast is under? Or do they have like a specific nonprofit just for that? Because I know that they do anti-Medicare for all propaganda all the time. Because they're Democratic. They're cappuccino conservatives. That's what I like to call them. They're basically just conservatives in denial, but they wear these hip clothes and they're young and with it. And Obama's cool, kids. Still, we promise. And then they point out all these problems. Like they'll point out the problems. It's like, yeah, you're on the team that's causing a lot of that, right? And then they're like, no, we're not. Yeah, no, you are. Yeah, you totally are. Pod saves America. The pod's not saving much. The pod is not saving much. All right. Is that it? Do we have any more? Or are we?
That's everything.
That's everything. Well, welcome to all of our new members. Thank you so much for all your super chats. Happy holidays to everyone. If I don't, I should see you before the holidays, but just in case. What's up, Colin?
All right, dude. I got the poll results.
Oh yeah. Let's hear it.
With 133 votes, it was 65% say yes, should wear glasses.
Should wear glasses. All right. Okay. So 45% prefer me without the glasses. All right, noted. I mean, it is easier to wear glasses, so I guess. But I think I'll mix it up a little bit. I mean, that's almost half and half. So maybe I'll mix it up some. I'll do. Well, it's not quite half and half. It's like 65-35, yeah. So that's actually not. That's like less than 4 out of 10 who are like ditch the glasses. The rest of you are like put the glasses on. But thank you for your thoughts. I'm curious. You agree with the Italian pizza guy? I'll probably do a little bit of both. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your super chat contribution. Again, anyone in Los Angeles, Sunday night, if you're not doing anything, ronplacone.com, you're going to see part 1 of Termination Fee and a stand-up comedy show beforehand. It's going to be a really, really fun night. ronplacone.com for those tickets. Yeah, that's Sunday night, the 15th, 7 p.m. Discounted tickets at ronplacone.com. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to all our new members. So excited to have you. Support Status Coup, statuscoup.com/join. And this is Ron Placone for Status.